Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this one, because we're tackling what's arguably one of the most high-stakes questions of our time right now, the future of education. We're going to look at a truly fascinating framework that's designed to completely rethink how we prepare students for a world that's, well, changing faster than ever. Let's unpack the complexities here and get a crystal clear understanding of what learning might actually look like in the very near future.
Think about it. If AI can pass a standardized test, what should schools actually teach? It's a huge, profound challenge. For decades now, our traditional educational systems have been completely optimized for rote recall and content transmission. But we're living in a brand new reality where generative AI models can simulate expertise, pump out fluent text, and solve standardized problems literally instantly. If our schools are just training kids to do what a machine can now do in about 3 seconds, we're aiming at the completely wrong target.
So enter HOPES. That stands for the Holistic, Outcomes-Based Personalized Education System. This is a K-12 curriculum framework that synthesizes some of the most incredibly successful Nordic educational models, specifically from Sweden and Finland. But hey, this isn't just about copying another country's homework. The HOPES framework is essentially the ultimate AI-era survival strategy. It acts as an architectural solution that explicitly moves away from high-stakes testing, and instead, it completely doubles down on the capacities that make us distinctly human.
Okay, let's dive into this structural blueprint. Today we'll be covering 1. Education in the AI era. 2. Pillar 1. The HOPES plan. 3. Pillar 2. Transversal competencies. 4. Pillar 3. Phenomenon-based learning. 5. Pillar 4. Morals and ethics. And 6. HOPES versus traditional education.
Starting off with Section 1, Education in the AI era, and the problem with standardized recall. Like we just established, optimizing for content transmission is no longer sufficient. We really need to fundamentally rethink our educational targets. To find that right target, we have to look really closely at what a machine simply cannot substitute. Sure, an AI might write a great essay, but it absolutely can't engage in live spoken articulation or oracy. It can't perform embodied, physical craft skills. It certainly lacks ethical human judgment and the ability to collaboratively frame a problem with a group of peers in real time. The entire HOPES framework is deliberately engineered to protect and actively cultivate these specific, non-automatable human traits. Section 2 introduces Pillar 1, the HOPES plan, or the spine of the curriculum. This is the absolute foundation of the framework, and it's built right on top of the 3 pillars of planning: ownership, cadence, and balance. Let's look at that first pillar of planning, ownership. This plan is not some rigid pacing guide handed down from the state. No, it's a living, 3-way personalized learning document that is co-authored by the student, the teacher, and the guardian. Nobody works from this plan alone. The second of those 3 pillars of planning is the cadence. Just look at the fixed rhythm here. Fall is for goal setting, winter is a progress check-in, and spring is the year-end review. It's a constant, predictable cycle of short conferences throughout the academic year. What's crucial to understand here is that this continuous process tracks an individual's actual growth trajectory over their entire school career. Instead of a student starting from scratch every September with a totally blank slate, the HOPES plan evolves right along with them, so their specific needs and goals are never lost in transition. And that brings us to the final of the 3 pillars of planning, balance. Notice the equal split in these goals. Especially in the elementary levels, when a student sits down to write out their goals, they have to balance them equally across 3 domains. Exactly a third is dedicated to academic progress, a third to learning skills, which is literally learning how to learn, and a third to social-emotional growth. This is brilliant because it guarantees that a relentless push for academic targets never crowds out a child's essential emotional development.
Moving right along, Section 3 introduces Pillar 2, transversal competencies, or the shared reporting language. If Pillar 1 is the spine, Pillar 2 is the shared vocabulary. These are cross-cutting skill targets that are integrated directly into every single subject.
These 7 competencies are literally the vocabulary teachers and students use to discuss progress. You have practical life skills like self-care and culture, but take a look at the 5th row down, digital and AI literacy. In the original Finnish model, this was just your standard tech skills class, but in the HOPES framework, it has been deliberately updated. Students are taught from day 1 how to safely, critically, and ethically work alongside generative AI. They're taught to treat it as an object of study, not just a magic tool you blindly use. Section 4 brings us to Pillar 3, phenomenon-based learning, which is the doing strand. This is where students take all those competencies we just discussed and apply them to real-world multidisciplinary problems. So instead of studying math at 9 a.m. and history at 10 a.m., they might spend weeks studying a massive phenomenon like water or migration, integrating all their academic subjects into one coherent inquiry. And running right alongside those phenomenon modules is the handicraft strand. Crucially, this is a mandatory requirement through grade 9. It involves both textile crafts, like working with fabrics and fiber, and technical crafts, like wood, metal, and electronics. Guys, this is not an elective. It's not a fun Friday side project. In the HOPES framework, physical craft is considered core cognitive infrastructure. It requires a rigorous cycle where a student documents a plan, physically builds the object, and then evaluates their original design intent. So the crucial point is captured perfectly in this quote from the source material. Embodied, multi-material problem-solving builds exactly the kind of tactic judgment that generative AI cannot replicate or shortcut. Think about it. When you're working with wood or circuits, the physical world pushes back. You cannot ask ChatGPT to perfectly sand a table for you. You have to develop physical resilience, patience, and spatial awareness. And that is exactly why physical crafts are quite literally framed as a mandatory survival skill in a digital economy. Up next is Section 5, Pillar 4, Morals and Ethics Education, a standalone academic subject. In so many schools today, ethics is just treated as an incidental byproduct of the school rules. If you behave in the hallway and don't run, you have good character. But the HOPES framework completely reimagines this by making ethics a standalone, secular academic subject with its own explicit, dedicated instructional time. The contrast here is honestly striking. On the left side, we have your traditional character compliance programs. These are fundamentally just about behavior management, right? Training students to follow rules and avoid conflict. But on the right, the morals and ethics strand in HOPES is vastly different. It focuses on moral reasoning. It's not about just telling kids what to do to stay out of trouble. It's about explicitly teaching them how to independently work their way through genuine, complex dilemmas. And you can clearly see how this curriculum evolves step by step as the student matures. Down in the early grades, it's rooted in basic fairness, empathy, and honesty through stories and group discussion. Then, in the middle grades, students are introduced to structured ethical reasoning and case-based perspective taking. By the time they hit the upper grades, they are diving into heavy applied ethics. They are grappling with media and AI ethics, confronting bias, authorship, consent, and truth in really tricky information environments. Step by step, this builds a reasoning capacity that is incredibly difficult for AI tools to credibly simulate. So now that we understand the 4 pillars, the plan, the competencies, the hands-on practice, and the ethical judgment, let's move to Section 6, HOPES versus traditional education, a structural comparison. Let's see how this entire architectural approach stacks up against traditional models, like the Common Core we use here in the US. It really is a night and day difference, isn't it? Under traditional Common Core, you've got an environment largely ruled by standardized test scores, strictly siloed subjects, rigid pacing guides, and high-stakes gatekeeping, where a single test can literally determine a student's future path. The HOPES framework, conversely, relies on competency portfolios, multidisciplinary modules, and that highly individualized HOPES plan we talked about earlier. Notably, HOPES doesn't completely eliminate standardized tests, but it radically demotes them. They just become low-stakes diagnostic tools, used simply to catch learning gaps, rather than a weapon used to rank and sort children. Ultimately, the goal of this entire framework is not a higher test score. It is a better aimed target for a world where content is infinitely automatable. By valuing the process over the final product and relying on portfolios that make a student's actual thinking visible, this mechanism durably protects a student's well-being. It equips them to direct their own learning long after they graduate. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought today. Does your local school system prepare students to blindly follow instructions? Or does it equip them with the uniquely human judgment needed to navigate an AI-driven world? It is a heavy question for sure, but it's one we absolutely have to be asking right now if we want our education systems to remain relevant. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those big questions.